and talked about, she kept saying redirection, and she was talking about setting up consequences. If you then have to follow through on this limit, and if you have to impose the consequence, we do something called redirect. We're going to send you somewhere else or give you another task. And that's going to be easier for you to figure out those tasks than me since you're there. But for us, like I look to, on my page notes, page 5, where it says redirection, a bullet. What we're doing is figuring out alternate activities that meet the child's needs. That the real goal here is to try to figure out why they're doing it. So, were they bored? Were they trying to get attention? There's all these sort of basic reasons that Alfred Adler was writing about in the early 1900s, and they're still true. There are a couple of basic, he calls mistaken goals that children have. So we put a little chart in here, hopefully 15 or 16, see what that is.
This is 12.
12. Well, there you go, or page 12 as the case may be. With Adler, he says if you can figure out what the intention was, then you know where to redirect or where to send them. And one of the most common ones there is undue attention. For many elementary school age children, and I was one of them, 4th grade was one of my worst years, they think that the only way to sort of be powerful and to get attention is to have the whole attention of the group. So that might be why you start up the silliness with the knives and get 2 people to join you, because it makes you feel powerful and good that people are following you, paying attention to you. So the little chart you can look back to when these things come up, it says, if the student's goal is to keep people busy, paying attention to them, some of the things you might feel are in the next column, irritated would be how I would feel. Then it shows what we sort of tend to do. We do lots of reminding or coaxing or the things that don't work as well. And children might stop temporarily, but it's still, you haven't gotten to their mistaken goal. So their belief behind all this is, I count or I only belong while I'm being noticed. If I'm part of the group, that doesn't count. I have to have the teacher calling my name, coming over to my table, standing by me. So that coded message is notice me, involve me. If I have one of those children, I'm going to be like right with them, making one of the leaders of the group with me. So that the 2 of us who are maybe demonstrating a new tool are reading the recipe to the group together. I'm going to give them something appropriate to be in charge of. Right? You don't want to do what some of my teachers did in 4th grade, which is so, and I think back, I was the class clown who was getting everyone's attention. So they would put me behind them to write on the board, and then they would turn around and keep talking. It was so reinforcing to me. I loved it. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted everyone in the class to look at me, the teacher in the back, turning, and I did all these great pantomime things that they couldn't see and hear. So it never made me want to change my behavior. The teacher didn't think, why is this child misbehaving? She wants attention. They just gave me attention, so the behavior continued. And then you can see on the side there, it's building a relationship with that child, telling you care about them. You notice what they're good at or what they like to do, so you're going to make them in charge of it. You're going to give them a job. They can help you set up a routine. But you have to get to know that child and figure out if he wants attention, I'm not going to give him attention for this. I'm going to give it to him in another way. And in just a minute, we're going to get to Allison will tell you about ignoring behavior. So there's some behaviors we ignore and some we don't. If you're being unsafe with a sharp knife, I can't ignore them. But some of the other silly things you might be doing, there's a way to ignore that's most effective in changing behavior and teaching children behavior. So I'm not going to go through this whole mistaken goal chart with you, but you can just look back at this misguided power. Sometimes they want to be the boss. So that child's constantly drawing you into power struggles to test your authority. And telling you that's worse when you don't see children every day. So this is going to happen a lot for you if you just go 1 or 2 afternoons a week, because just as they're having time with you and sort of getting to know you, then you're gone for another week. And this is what happens to Allison and the lab school, where they're much more consistently with the children, so they don't try to draw us into power struggles. But my undergrad students who come 1 day a week, each week they sort of test the limits again. Will she let me do this? Does she know this is the rule? And they're pushing the boundaries because they don't have the same kind of relationship with those students. So make that child your friend. That would be my advice. Get to know something really positive about them that you want to continue. The other ones here are revenge. Sometimes children do things to get even with each other. And then this last one is assumed inadequacy. Some children will get bored, distracted. It looks like they're not paying attention and don't want to do something. Sometimes they really can't do it. Sometimes they just pretend they can't, and that's their way to get you one-on-one. Children, one time we were doing a food activity where we're spreading things on bread, and she was 4, almost 5, and she's like, I can't do it, I'm a baby. I said, okay, well you can eat plain bread today. Oh, okay. She got the knife, she spread it, and she ate it. But her other relationships were adults, where how you get attention is to fake helplessness. And then people come in and they do it for you. And so that what's happening is that you're stepping into relationships, you're taking the role of adult, and they already have all these other relationships with adults. Depending on how those adults are interacting with them, they're going to assume you're going to do the same thing. So that kid who's pushing back if someone is too controlling in his life. These children who are being so helpless have that adult who's coming in and doing everything for them. And they find out pretty quickly, I'm not either of those people, that I don't play either of those games. Some of it is actually body language as well. Like I'll train my undergraduates what to say or a technique, and I'll say, be firm and say exactly what you want. Pick the shovel up and take it to the shed, instead of do you want to pick it up? And so this is the way they do it then. Pick the shovel up and take it to the shed. Well, your words might be firm and positive, but your body language is saying, please do this, I don't know what else to do if you don't do it. So some of it is your body language, your tone, and this gets easier with practice and with experience, just assuming that the child is going to do it. If you take the hesitancy out of your voice, it takes the hesitancy out of the relationship, the interaction. It's easy to say, but really hard to do. So what questions do you have about redirection or mistaken goals?
So if you were like with this situation where you had the 3 kids who were beating up each other and
did everyone have a knife at the time?
yes,
Okay.
and it was just not the knife. I mean, it was they were boys and they were they're physical, very physical with each other.
I've had plenty of little girls be physical too, but
Oh, okay.
in this case,
Well, in this case, the girls were not.
try not to make assumptions.
That's true. But they were being really, really physical.
Right.
And
were there any physical jobs that could have contributed to the project at that point?
there probably would have been, but we did not anticipate it. So I didn't even think about what they could have done.
So part of what Allison was saying too, when you think for the day of what the project is, the more you do it, the more you can anticipate what these inappropriate behaviors might be and think ahead to some consequences or redirections. Or in the past, the children have been really physical. We're doing X today. What other jobs are